At the very heart of the Makoni identity, there's a powerful, sacred symbol, the NYATHI, the buffalo. This is so much more than just an animal. It's a spiritual bond, a totem that connects every single member of the family across time. To NYATHI, we venerate the buffalo. And this is the story of how that powerful bond was first created.
So, especially for the Makoni family, welcome. We're about to dive into a story that's nearly 600 years in the making, tracing the incredible history of your royal dynasty. We're going to unpack the stories that define your origins, your roots, and your amazing heritage, making this history come alive for everyone.
So where do you even start with a story this big? To really get the strength and the resilience that defines the Makoni people today, you have to go way, way back. Not just a few decades, but centuries. Our journey kicks off almost 600 years ago, in a land far to the north of what we now call Zimbabwe.
Every great dynasty has a beginning, a single figure who sets everything in motion. So let's go right to the start and meet the patriarch of this entire story.
Okay, so picture this. We're in the 1500s. There's a powerful ruler, Mambo Ruwanayaka, and he controls a huge territory called Shiriri, which is in modern-day Tanzania. Now, he's got a big family, but what he doesn't know is that the entire future of his lineage, it all rests on the shoulders of his firstborn son. And that son's name was Gunguo. Now, Gunguo wasn't just your average prince. He was a master of the wild, a legendary hunter, known everywhere for his skill with buffalo and elephants. And this talent, this deep connection to the hunt, it would end up defining not just his own life, but the identity of all his descendants to come.
And this is where the story takes a huge turn. A moment of bitter betrayal actually becomes a moment of creation. See, after their father, Mambo Ruwanika, dies, Gunguo's half-brothers, they deny him his birthright to the throne. They mock him for his passion, saying things like, "You're always out in the forest, you might as well be a buffalo yourself, you are NYATHI." And with that one insult, they accidentally gave Gunguo's family its sacred totem forever, the NYATHI.
So, denied his throne, cast out by his own family. What does Gunguo do? He makes a huge decision. He's not going to fight for a kingdom that's already rejected him. Instead, he gathers his family and he leads them south on a massive journey, a great migration to find a new home and forge a brand new destiny.
After a long, tough journey, they finally arrive in the beautiful, promising lands of Mahongwe. But Gunguo, now an old man, doesn't live long enough to see his people settled. So leadership passes to his oldest son, Sabarawara. And it's right here, in this new land of hope, that a painful family conflict is about to explode.
You see, while his younger brother, Muswere, was away on a hunt, Sabawarawa, now the head of the family, does something that is just unthinkable. He takes his own niece, Muswere's daughter, as one of his wives. This one act completely shatters the family bond.
The betrayal was just so deep that Sabawara's name was essentially erased from the family history. From that moment on, he was known only as Shipunza, a name that literally means the one who breaks relations. And to this day, his descendants are known as the Shipunza, a permanent reminder of the painful split that tore Gunguo's family in two.
So now he's on his own, estranged from his brother's family. But this is where Muswere's story really takes off. It goes from a family tragedy to the incredibly clever founding of a whole new kingdom that would carry his name. Okay, you have to hear this because this is just brilliant. Muswere comes across the local ruler, a Mambo named Mutwira, but instead of fighting him for the land, he uses his deep knowledge of tradition. After they kill a huge elephant on a hunt, Muswere offers Mutwira the first choice of the meat. Mutwira picks some meat from the elephant's back. And right then, Muswere makes his move. He declares that a true Mambo, a true king, always eats from the chest, the chitu. It was an absolute masterclass in using wit over brute force.
Mutwira knew he'd been outsmarted. He recognized Muswere's superior wisdom and, with great honor, he just conceded. He said, "Wandikona, you have defeated me." And right there, he gives Muswere the title of Mambo. This happened in the year 1625, and it was made official with the blessing of the regional superpower of the time, the Razvi Empire. Getting their approval was everything, and it meant Muswere was officially installed as the very first Mambo Makoni.
So, the kingdom was born. But how do you make sure it lasts for generations? Well, you need laws. The next critical step for the Makoni dynasty was setting up a clear, stable way to handle who rules next. And this system would shape their world for centuries.
And one of the most important laws comes from, you guessed it, another family story. After Musware dies, his brother, Mukuwapasi, is supposed to be the next Mambo, but he shows up late for his own coronation. The Rosvi, who are overseeing everything, see this as a really bad omen, so they install Musware's son instead. But as a compromise, they give the Mukuwapasi family a new, super important job. They become the Zibaba, the hereditary kingmakers. They get to install every future Mambo, but they can never ever rule themselves.
Then, a bit later in the dynasty's history, after the time of the great Mambo Ruretso, another foundational law was created. The title of Mambo would from then on rotate between the 4 houses that descended from his sons, Mswachi, Zendara, Nyamanhindi, and Nyakurukwa. And that very system is what defines the Makoni dynasty even today.
But you know, the Makoni story isn't just about ancient laws and family origins. It's also a powerful, powerful story of fierce independence, incredible courage, and heroic resistance against anyone who tried to take their land.
And when you talk about Makoni courage, one name just thunders through history: Mambo Chingaira. In the late 1800s, as British colonial forces were pushing into the region, he rose to become a world-renowned figure. He was a brilliant military strategist, a fearless warrior, and he led this incredible resistance that became a symbol of Zimbabwean strength.
And here's the truly tragic part of his story. Mambo Chingaira wasn't defeated on the battlefield. No, he was betrayed by his own relatives. He was captured and then publicly executed in 1896. And in a final, horrifying act of colonial power, his head was taken to England as a trophy. But that horrible end didn't break his legacy. If anything, it cemented his status as a true national hero, a powerful symbol of Makoni's strength and sacrifice.
And that brings us right through this incredible sweep of your history. From Musware's clever founding way back in 1625, through the time of Ruretso, who established the 4 houses, to the heroic resistance of Chingaira, all the way to 1986, when those ruling houses were formally restored, and then to the installation of the current Mambo. Your line has endured through it all, showing this incredible, unbroken resilience.
So what's the takeaway here? It's that the story of the Makon Tritoni isn't just something from the past. It's not locked away in a history book. It's a living, breathing heritage. It's a story that is still being written by every new generation. The legacy of the NYATHI has been passed down for centuries, and now the pen is in your hands. The next chapter is yours to write.